can we let me start this one? I'll give you a brief preamble to what this actually is first. So today we're doing a VOD review. It's an Overwatch VOD. The casters are Lafon and LemonKiwi. I assume Lafon, not Lafon. You can correct me if you like. Yeah, I did, Justin. Yeah, I was so tired by the end of it, I got real sick. So, so I know LemonKiwi personally. I've met her a couple of times. She's very enthusiastic and she's a hard worker. So, I haven't really looked at much of her work in a while. But she's got roots in the Smash industry as well. And from what I've seen, like, earphone? No, it's an L on this. Really? That's weird. Okay, well, I've got a document that's written by like the Broadcast GG guys about them. So I can introduce them properly. So it's not Lafon. That's mad weird. Vowels. Is it an I? Oh, you're trolling me. All right, cool story. All right, anyway. So we're going to look at these two's casting. I've never seen Lafon's casting before. What I'm looking for is they've got some things that they want to work on. So they're looking at how they deal with the longer overtime fights. Shouldn't be asking me about that because I just yell. Want to see how much personality they managed to draw out there. Apparently it's a more serious cast. This is an important game. So handoffs, pickups, just passing between the casters. And and apparently LemonKiwi giggles when they get excited. So have gotten feedback that can be annoying or too much. Been also told it adds personality. Had to make sure you don't do it too much. I generally err on the side of if it adds personality, you should do it. I think it's pretty hard to go wrong with that, but we'll see. I'm calling him Lafon, all right? Screw you guys. Anyway, it's going to be a Contenders broadcast. So that's what we're doing. No music, just because we will try and hear everything that's going on. Okay, yeah, obviously, you guys might like come in and stuff like that, and I'll probably have to reiterate this a couple of times. What's up, T-Dog? Yeah, that's back. As long as it's dad and not daddy, I'm happy with that. I'm too young to be a dad, by the way. I'm 26 years old. It's ridiculous. So we're going to go over this. We'll probably do a map. It really depends how long they go for. I usually like to spend like an hour on it. Because the further in that you dig, the longer it can take. This VOD is 24 minutes. It'll probably take me about an hour to do 15 minutes of that. It really depends. Maybe if it's good though, then it'll be quick. I have high expectations. Obviously, as you can see, this is South American Contenders. So what Broadcast.gg have been doing is been casting the Contenders stuff for other regions. I tell you what, like these guys have got some graft. So they're going out and casting a lot of the regions that maybe aren't being sort of represented with casting at the moment. So, big sub, Mad Indecent. Thank you, your boy Pico. Thank you for the sub. These resubs here, guys, is big. 2 months, guys. I don't have the sound. I may have to. I can leave the sound on. Actually, that's fine. Just so it doesn't distract too much while we're in the VOD. All right, Moon subs are here. Let's start this up. Yeah, Dancing Matt. I know. I really wanted this gift made, and someone did it for me. I think it was Mistrusts on Twitter. So, okay. I've got my buttons set up here. Yeah, cool.
Well, you need to come back and take this particular map, but Kings Row, it's such a strange affair. We've kind of come to expect sort of an anti-dive composition on first, and then you kind of like roll through second and see what happens. They need
one thing as well. I don't know. Like most of the viewers for Contenders are like hardcore fans anyway, so they kind of know a lot of the terms you're using. One thing I'm trying to avoid doing is instead of using like first and second, is just trying to like use more of a geographical reference to that location. So like you can say point A, right? If you're saying first, I assume you mean point A, and then second, I guess you can just say. The stretch before the foundry, or I think if you just say like second point because it's a hybrid map, there's only one actual point, so it's a bit tough. Don't go easy on him, mate. You're too nice and soft. Wait till I get one of yours, you motherfucker. No, that's true. Oh no, look, I think I'm tough but fair. All right, let's get it.
Need to put an exclamation point. They need to come in swinging on that first attack and really try and bring this back.
So I mean, I just tuned into this, but I don't know who they is. So the more you can use team names, the better, like BGG or LFO or Look for Org.
In their favor.
Something I've noticed that's like, this is just being nitpicky. Like, BGH, it's hard to find a weakness or a crack in their armor, but when they run this 3-2-1 of the triple tank, double sniper, and single support on defensive maps like King's Row, I feel like this is their weakest comp that they love to run, surprisingly, on maps like King's Row and Rialto, and most of the time they lose these fights pretty handily. So if they do decide to run this on defense, maybe looking for Org could have an upper hand.
Okay, so
these days,
I'm going back a little bit here. Hold on. Where's my button theory? Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Like it's like a favorite comp of theirs, but it doesn't it doesn't work. I wonder if you could if you can maybe add. That's an observation, right? Which is totally fine. I wonder if you can add to that and sort of conject or try and guess a little bit as to why they would why they favor it so much. Maybe you don't know, but that's kind of a nice insider thing. If you're doing a bunch of South American contenders, that's like a big value add there in terms of content.
Me, that application of the Discord orb, you can kind of drop the Zen. There's not really that many burst ultimates these days either. As the Graviton Surge Dragon Strike combo not nearly as effective or popular as we kind of expected. So to sort of see these tanky health pools run that solo support, it's not unexpected or uncommon. The problem is you need to actually be able to turn around on it. And
it's good energy here. I don't know how long
turn around on it.
You guys are into this broadcast.
We are being nitpicky.
Yeah, I can bump up the video audio. I was just about to ask if people are not hearing stuff properly, then let me know.
They don't look the greatest with it. It is a weird situation where I guess the way to put it is that they win, but they win as shakily as possible.
So what you want to try and avoid as much as you can, I think, is when you're both on like front facing camera. I see Jen's just sat there like you just had to kind of look at the camera and wait for your chance to talk. If you have this kind of stuff, it's much better to sort of communicate, right? Like take shorter jabs at each other and have more of a back and forth. The only reason I say this is because you do, if you can, want to avoid having like one person just like staring at the camera like the whole time. I might do it on broadcast as a joke. Like a good example is like when Matt goes on and we're on camera, I just start doing silly shit, you know? I mean, just to make fun of him and to remind him as well that you want to try and keep the back and forth here. So obviously Lafon's making a point here. You fucking, mate, there was that clip where I'm miming out all the hero abilities, bruh. You're the best ever, Jesus. Oh yeah, I mean you have to stare into the camera, right? But it's easier to watch if there's more back and forth on this particular exchange. I feel like you guys are both just and this is fine. Like you guys are both just like you're offloading information onto us, which is really good. But getting some back and forth here, or just like asking asking questions and stuff like that. I always lose my train of thought all the time, especially when I'm doing VOD review. Yeah.
Possible. It's not really the dominance we've come to expect.
Just nod and smile.
Will we see that kind of change here in this map? It remains to be found out, but King's Row is...
Okay, so I like that you asked the question, Lafon, there, like, will we see that change on this map? You actually don't have to answer that question or sort of say, like, will we see that change on this map? You can actually leave that in the air instead of sort of going, it remains to be found out, because you're not asking the question. Like, if you know the answer to will this change, and you've already seen the map, right? You know what I mean? So... you can get more almost entertainment value, or you can bring an audience member in a little bit more by just letting that hang a little bit more. Will we see that change in this map? And it's also a good way to throw to your other caster.
Is away, it is set up, it is in we go, so it is going to be Brazil Gaming House defending first, looking for Org. They have an opportunity here.
And the issue with the 3-2-1 is the sustain. Overwatch is a huge battle of sustain of your resources. How can you keep your teammates topped up when the battle gets longer? And as I called it, BGH running that 3-2-1 Alemão, the only support. And the spawns for looking for Org are so close that even
I'm impressed you know how to pronounce his name, because have been corrected on that. It's not Alemão. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to that little bit of analysis at the start, because I thought it was quite good. And you used that timing very well, I thought.
I have an opportunity here.
And the issue with the 3-2-1 is the sustain. Overwatch is a huge battle of sustain of your resources. How can you keep your teammates topped up when the battle gets longer? And as I called it...
Yeah, so you haven't mentioned healing yet, I suppose is the only thing. So for a new viewer, they're like wondering what you're keeping them topped up on. A very minor thing though.
BGH running that 3-2-1 LemonKiwi, the only support. And the spawns from Looking for Org are so close that even if they lose a few members, they can keep their members topped up. And Godman picking off Lico behind the shield. The Resurrect is there, but this is the moment to engage from Looking for Org.
It's pretty high energy, which I don't necessarily mind. It just depends where we go from here.
Already accumulated half a take. Godman is going to keep them from dropping down, finding yet another pick here from the assistance of Low Life. Looking for Org are looking so good on their attack.
Yeah, see, I don't mind, and obviously, like, play-by-play is not really a problem for you. I'll go back and look at this fight one more time. Obviously, if I think as a rule of thumb, from the gates opening to the end of the first fight, you probably want more than one person interjecting there. So I think this is probably another matter of more solidifying the difference in role focus, or getting a bit of back and forth discussion going. Because obviously you've made a point about analysis and how hard it is to keep people topped up, or how important it is, and then you mentioned that, okay, like I said, there's that single support comp, and then you sort of we jump into the play-by-play there, which is fine, but you talk about your handoffs and your throws and stuff like that, and like you sort of paying yourself off by saying, here's that 3-2-1 comp, like I said, is a good jumping off point if you do want to get a little bit more back and forth. Let's go back and look at the play-by-play of the fight.
Keep your teammates topped up when the battle gets longer. And as I called it, BGH running that 3-2-1 LemonKiwi, the only support.
So that's a decent place to get off, or at least to change tone / pace as you shift into play-by-play.
And the spawns from Looking for Org are so close that
so this is another analytical point.
Even if they lose a few members, they can keep their members topped up. And God.
So yeah, so like I think you lose out on that point slightly, right? Your point becomes weaker because you're trying to insert a point about the spawns for BGH being Looking for Org being close enough that they can keep each other topped up, or if they lose a player, like that to me is like a not a fully formed point, and you're jumping off of that because there's a fight starting. You want to do some play-by-play, so you're almost better off letting it breathe after identifying the team composition, either breathing yourself and changing gear as the fight begins, or throwing it. Because what you've done here is you've tried to go for more rather than less, and you've not only created a situation where your tone is not really shifted between 2 points or concepts that you're exploring with the viewer, but you're also compromising on the robustness of your second point. Less is more unless it's overtime. Less is more, yeah, I guess.
Running that 3-2-1.
In this case, anyway, you just don't want to shoehorn it in. I think you can have more without compromising the elements, you know what I mean?
LemonKiwi, the only support. And the spawns from Looking for Org are so close that even if they lose a few members, they can keep their members topped up. And
so I think you see that kill, and then like I can already tell that you're shifting gear, but you haven't really taken a breath since the doors open.
Godman picking off Lico
What's up,
behind
Steve?
the shield. The Resurrect is there, but this is the moment to engage from Looking for Org. Already accumulated half a take. Godman is going to keep them from dropping down, finding yet another pick here from the assistance of Low Life. Looking for Org are looking so good on their attack.
Yeah, Looking for Org doing a great job, and Godman pretty much the entire reason why D.Va so expecting Honorado, that is making sure to eat that concussive mine, but hey, it doesn't matter if you're knocked off the high ground if you're just going to take a bunch of rocks to the face anyway. So Brazil Gaming House is going to switch up their composition a little.
That's not a bad breakdown. Obviously, like eating a rocket is pretty feels bad, man.
Is there, but this is the moment to engage from
I just want to hear this analysis.
Org. Already accumulated half a take. Godman is going to keep them from dropping down.
Let me just see this. Godman is going to keep them
Yet
dropping down.
another pick here from the assistance of Low Life. Looking for Org are looking so good on their attack.
I mean, yeah, this is like the team fight flow doesn't really bother me. Like I said, the energy is relatively high to start with, but it's not necessarily an issue. You said this is a more important game. Just watch some of your like linking and phrasing here. I think you're saying someone's going down from the assistance of Godman.
Already accumulated half a take. Godman is going to keep them from dropping down, finding yet another pick here from the assistance of Low Life. Looking for Org are looking so good on their attack.
Yeah, I mean, you're mentioning Low Life there as well, but it's a little bit unclear based on what we can see, what that assistance really is. So you could contextualize that further potentially, or maybe not mention it.
Yeah, looking forward to doing a great job, and Godman, pretty much the entire reason why Diva so expecting Honorado, that is making sure to eat.
What are you saying? So expecting on...
Yeah, looking forward to doing a great job, and Godman, pretty much the entire reason why Diva so expecting Honorado, that is making sure to eat that concussive mine. But hey, it doesn't matter if you're knocked off the high ground if you're just going to take a bunch of rocks to the face anyway.
So the point is poorly formed, but I understand what you're trying to say. So I think, like, you mentioned Diva, you know, I guess you don't mention a specific name. You mentioned Ono, actually, I think. You can trim that down a lot more, and you can say that you know, Honorado was there to eat the concussive mine, but wasn't able to protect, you know, his teammate from the rocket that invariably connected, or something like that. So it's a little drawn out, because maybe you're searching for the words, or you're sort of mild stumbles. But
Brazil Gaming,
it's fine.
So expecting Honorado, that is making sure to eat that concussive mine.
Yeah, you see a little bit of uncertainty here as well. Just try and shore that up.
But hey, it doesn't matter if you're knocked off the high ground if you're just going to take a bunch of rocks to the face anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're not knocked off the high ground, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's what you're
Brazil
going
Gaming
for.
House is going to switch up their composition a little bit, but honestly, Godman, the actual MVP of that fight, coming in with as much damage as possible, and then Low Life doing the cleanup. So it is going to be looking for or taking it on their first push.
Okay, and like I think you're correct that like the fight was essentially won by the Farah there. So there's maybe not too much deep analysis to do. I think I kind of like the point about the Diva being there to eat the concussive blast. That's something that people aren't like. People want to know why. Like, we talk about the what so much in casting, and play-by-play casters do it all the time. We sort of talk about what's going on. But if you can explain to me the reason for someone being there, that's like a huge value add and a very important educational device. What's up, Corey? Not much, brother. Just doing some VOD review, man. You know how it is.
Now towards Streaks phase, they have...
Yeah, what's up, Side-Eyed? All right! Thanks, Steve. Appreciate the sub, dude. Yeah.
The ultimate economy.
Waste
here,
your fucking money. That's
building
fine.
close to that the rip tire ever so quickly.
And you see Brazil Gaming House, the 3-2-1, as we mentioned, already did not work. So this is when they love to switch back to the 2-2-2. They're tried and true, the death ball with...
I'm so glad you stayed on your point after the headshot and didn't derail.
Taking it on their first push. And now towards Streaks phase, they have the ultimate economy here. The Lico building close to that the rip tire ever so quick.
Obviously, you want to avoid that stutter, but that's fine. That's a very basic thing.
And you see Brazil Gaming House, the 3-2-1, as we mentioned, already did not work. So this is when they love to switch back to the 2-2-2. They're tried and true, the death ball with a sniper Junkrat. And this will maybe be a better look for them.
Why? Will you tell me?
Combinations not available quite yet due to Brazil Gaming House just getting the switch, but a Riptide already starting off here for the defense.
Yeah, so like obviously this is all fine, but like your transitions into play-by-play from analysis, I don't have a problem with you doing both of them. I think that's fine. It's just it will put you in a position where you do talk for a long time, and that's also fine if you can vary it up a bit. You know what I mean? You can vary up the pace. So what I recommend, instead of slowing down or speeding up the play-by-play, you could slow the analysis down, or at least try and deliver it in a way that gives some contrast to the viewer. Because, again, we are making a transition in topic and context from talking about a team comp, which I don't know if you really fleshed out. You sort of mentioned they were going to a 2-2-2 and that the ultimate combination wasn't necessarily going to be available to them. I assume you're talking about Grav Riptire, judging by what I can see. But yeah, so you know, we kind of move across topics here with the same brush, and it becomes a bit muddled.
Brazil Gaming House, the 3-2-1, as we mentioned, already did not work. So this is when they love to switch back to the 2-2-2. They're tried and true, the death ball with a sniper Junkrat, and this will maybe be a better look for.
Yeah, I mean. That's...
For them, as combinations not available quite yet.
What combination? I assume you're referring to maybe looking for orgs, grab Dragon Strike, but that's not clear. So I don't know what combination you're talking about. So that's going to make it harder for people to know what you're getting at.
The Brazil Gaming House just getting the switch, but a Riptide already starting off.
So you're just getting the switch, but a Riptide. I mean, you use Bite, I guess, is good, but it's a little bit hard. And obviously now you've carried your analysis into the start of another fight, which is already over. So no big deal.
Here for the defense, swings around and gets the trip.
Right, so what you've done here is because you were at like analysis pace, and then a kill happens, and then half a second or to a second later, you've gotten very loud, right? That loudness is fine, but it's such a rapid transition between your conversation, with your more conversational tone, to like, well, it wasn't a tape delay. It's just that Jen had to finish making her point, and she wrapped it up as well as possible into a team fight. But by the time she'd actually realized that there was a team fight going on, that happened, and so you have to sort of react to that. We get caught off guard. But again, if you're not ready for something, then there's no point trying to rise to meet it when you're not ready. A riptide, and honestly, like a riptide like that's like, you don't have to react in a huge way for it, because there's not a lot of build up to something like that in a team fight. Like, I really feel like if you're gonna end up here, you need to work your way up there. You can't just go from here to here, no matter if they all die at once. I feel like going from, and this is a personal lesson that I've learned, I suppose, but going from 0 to 10 very quickly is not really ideal. If you can do it over 5 seconds and start to ramp up into it, the impact is vastly better. It's jarring than if you jump, even if the action necessarily matches it.
Triple kill. This will stop looking for Org right in their tracks.
I mean, the getting off point there is fine. Good luck with the analysis on this fight, because they literally just threw a riptire.
They should probably be looking for a riptire at this point, because, man, that one just walked into their entire team, no one to be found, and they just get absolutely destroyed by that tire. So, looking for Orc. Oh, and Dudu is just gonna camp the window, gonna take that fight down, and that resurrect will not be available. They will have to wait for it the old-fashioned way. Looking for Orc stalled out yet again. So as fast as their first attack was, their second one has been stalled.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for the sub, bro.
Just walked into their entire team, no one to be found, and they just get absolutely destroyed by that tire. So you gotta say something. I'm certain that Lafon is about to switch to something here, but this kill throws you off. So maybe you don't know where you're going. Maybe you're looking for the next point. Not 100% certain on that, but. Looking for Orc. Oh, and Dudu is just gonna camp the window.
So you're going to say something, then you go away from it, which is fine. I mean, the kill's not important, in my opinion, or at least maybe if you actually had a point ready, I don't know if you did or not, then it probably doesn't warrant jumping off of it.
Resurrect will not be available. They will have to wait for it the old-fashioned way. Looking for Orc stalled out yet again. So as fast as their first attack was, their second one has been stalled out temporarily. As the Infrasight comes online here, looking for Orc.
It's okay to say that. I think, like, as fast as their first attack was, their second has been a bit slower.
Now kind of zoned in.
It's okay. It's like, I would say I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 in terms of like things you could say there, perhaps. But
and though the trade is there, will they be able to get the resurrect off and keep this push going?
Oh, there it is. So you didn't do at the start is when you answered your own question. Here you didn't, and you used it as a throw, as a getting off point, which is I approve wholeheartedly. That's what we like to see.
One has been stalled out temporarily. As the Infrasight comes online here, looking for Org now, kind of zoned in. And though the trade is there, will they be able to get the resurrect off and keep this push going?
Well, looking forward, just have to be so careful. Now that their main threat is gone, their supports can actually leave and feel a little safer. Dragon Strike, Transcendence, a bunch available here for looking for Org, looking mainly for the Earth Shatters. That would be a great start for looking for Org. It slams down, misses, but it opens up.
So that's a better transition for me, in my opinion. So like you've gone, like it's another big team fight, another like sort of one by all, but this time you were ready for it, at least it seems that way, and you can actually transition up into that higher volume without it being jarring, right?
It is there.
So let's just go back and listen to your build up into the fight.
Will they be able to get the resurrect off and keep this push going?
Well, looking forward, just have to be so careful. Now that their main threat is gone, their supports can actually leave and feel a little safer.
So now that their main threat is gone, their supports can leave and feel a little bit safer. Not super sure. Not super sure what that means. Maybe I'm not interpreting it correctly.
Dragon Strike, Transcendence, a bunch available here for looking for Org, looking mainly for the Earth Shatters. That would be a great start for looking for Org. It slams down, misses.
So this is so good, right? Like you say, that would be a great start for looking for Org, and it slams down. And you see, that's like a natural transition for me, because you don't stop yourself mid-thought. You're actually on the same train, and you can turn that into a team fight. So if you are going to build into a team fight and then do the play-by-play casting, this is what I'd much rather see. And it's a more natural, smooth development of hype and volume that's not jarring. So this is much better.
But it opens up a triple barrage from Godman as he's looking to advance the payload.
What an unfortunate situation there for looking for Org. It is a call that they're going to barrage into the Earth Shatter, but the knockup from the concussive mine from Liko just prevents it in its entirety. They do manage to get the team wipe regardless, so they will move this payload forward. But it is a little bit more expensive, I think, than they perhaps were kind of expecting. A little shaky.
What do they spend on that, though? They still spent the same 2 ultimates on that fight. So you mentioned that it's an unfortunate situation, but it was supposed to be an Earth Shatter barrage, right? But I mean, you say like there was supposed to be an Earth Shatter backed up by the barrage, but realistically, Godman's positioning made it so that it didn't matter if the Shatter even hit, because he had actually flanked. So he'd already gone he'd already taken another step to ensure that he would get value out of his ultimate. So despite, the Reinhardt's Earth Shatter not connecting, he still gets ult value. So like that, I guess the recap of that fight is I would not agree with it personally. It's not that I disagree with it in like a stylistic way. I just think it was kind of incorrect.
And as he's looking to advance,
so you see, because Godman is set up here, like he's set up here, and you know he's gonna try and that was beforehand. Sorry. Yeah, we'll see where he goes.
But be so careful. That would be a great start for looking for Org. It slams down, misses, but it opens up a triple barrage from Godman.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't open. I guess it does open up the barrage, considering they had to keep the shield up.
As he's looking to advance the payload.
What an unfortunate situation there for looking for Org. It is a call that they're going to barrage into the Earth Shatter, but the knockup from the concussive mine from Liko just prevents it in its entirety. They do manage to get the team wipe regardless, so they will.
Yeah, so I think that it's unfortunate. It is actually unfortunate, because the premise that you built your breakdown, your analysis on is incorrect, because there's no misfortune, I guess. Because they used the same amount of ultimates that they were going to commit, whether or not the Shatter connected, and they still managed to win the fight. In a sense, it's almost like an overcommitment, because if that Shatter actually hits, then maybe the barrage isn't even that important. Or the fact that Godman manages to get value out of it despite that missing. So you definitely need to change your tact here in that analysis and actually point out, well, actually, it could have gone wrong. But because, and this is a great way as well, you get to glorify a player for making a good decision, which is something I really enjoyed doing. You can mention, because Godman's positioning was very good, he was able to take advantage of this. And yes, there was a Shatter, but the fact is their whole team had their backs to Godman. And he was able to get a huge barrage. So unfortunately, you missed the hoop, so to speak, on this breakdown.
Forward, but it is a little bit more expensive, I think, than they perhaps were kind of.
Yeah, because I don't think it's any more expensive. But based on the premise that you said that they were looking to use a barrage and a Shatter anyway.
Expecting a little shaky at the end there, but looking for Org playing very aggressively. Though Brazil Gaming House, look at Neil already having that Earth Shatter, having just switched that hero on the defensive turn. And Dragon Strike will be committed as they try and contest.
We really want this point.
Regardless, so they will move this payload forward, but it is
going back
more
and forth,
I think, than they perhaps were kind of expecting. A little shaky at the end there, but looking for Org playing very aggressively. Though Brazil Gaming House, look at Neil already having that.
I think you meant to say although. If that conjunction isn't clear, I still think you're talking about the same thing. So you're saying looking for Org playing very aggressively, and if you can hit that although, then it's clear to me that we're sort of moving off topic. But because that doesn't come through clearly, I'm perhaps not necessarily ready for you to just talk about Neil. And so like we're gonna point out the fact that Neil had gathered his Earth Shatter very quickly. I suppose you had to decide whether the main point you want to make here is that he has Earth Shatter or that he got it quickly. But and if he says he got it quickly, the value add there is how or what about these team compositions allowed him to do that. getting shields from Honorado, presumably, and him walking forward and pressing mouse 1.
Just switch that hero on the defense.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of stutter here as well. So because if they're stuttering as well, it can obscure the point you're trying to make a little bit.
Turn. And Dragon Strike will be committed as they try and contest.
So Jen, your reaction there under the casting is fine.
They'll Brazil Gaming House, look at Neil already having that Earth Shatter, having just switch that hero on the defensive turn. And Dragon Strike will be committed as they try and contest.
They really want this point B. They're starting it off. Neil
Who, I guess, like looking for all, because both teams technically want to maintain control of it, right?
looking for the shatter, just getting this shield down for the kill. As a Riptire, Liko at the back, it gets shot down here from Searchy. But the battle for point B still continues. A Graviton launch from Honorado, and is the follow-up there though? It's Searchy here with the Transcendence, all the healing, but the follow-up is still there from Godman, coming down with just the free rockets with the Pharah. Now Neil is the only person standing in their path, and that will be point B for looking for Org.
And looking for Org, man, what patience.
Okay, let's go back and watch that again. It's kind of a chaotic fire. I don't know what you can see here, Jen, or not.
House, look at Neil already having that Earth Shatter, having just switch that hero on the defensive turn.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you spend obviously the intro to this fight talking about Neil's Earth Shatter. Obviously, like we don't mention the fact that there's a Dragon Strike there for low life, but I think that's fine. Well, it is. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay, you get a feed. Oh, you get the feed from them, right? So you see what I see. That simplifies this a bit.
Dragon Strike will be committed as they try and contest.
Okay.
They really want this point B. They're starting it off. Neil's looking for the shatter, just getting this shield down for the kill. As a Riptire, Liko at the back, it gets shot down here from...
Yeah, so whose shield, I suppose, is really important. A better way of putting that is that Neil is trying to get behind the shield of mate or whatever. The shield or the kill. Is that a kill on the enemy Reinhardt? It's just a little bit too indistinct to accurately encompass what he's trying to achieve in this scenario. Again, you really want to speak from a position of what the player is trying to accomplish if you can identify that.
From Searchy, but the battle for point B still continues.
So I like this. This, in my opinion, is a good linking phrase. Like the battle for point B still continues. And that like gives you a good chance to come back down and also remind people that the fight is continuing. I think we get a bit of kill feed reading here because now I know that you can see what I see. So if I hear you casting about things that maybe I don't see, I'll know that you picked that off the kill feed.
Graviton launch from Honorado, and is the follow-up there though?
Yeah, I mean, being in first person there is pretty bad for you, trying to communicate that.
Searchy here with the Transcendence, all the healing, but the follow-up is still there from Godman, coming down with just the free rockets with the Pharah. Now Neil is the only person standing in their path, and that will be point B for looking for Org.
And looking for Org, man, what?
I think given what you had to work with there, I think that was fine. I could sense a little bit of uncertainty there as well, but now that I know that you see this feed, I can see why that's possible. Sometimes I have to sort of think back and remember what it was like to cast with like a more chaotic feed, I guess, instead of like a whole team of observers. Don't worry, I've been there. I've been through the shadow of the Valley of Death. How many angles do Overwatch casters see? 5, I guess. I mean, we don't really use all 5.
From Sora, and an absolute beauty of a Graviton Surge. Looking for Org, they come in, they send the Dragon Strike, which, by the way, Low Life has back already. And then they come in, they Earth Shatter, it gets taken.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the aside about Low Life having the Dragon Strike again. That's good.
It only takes down one. The Pharah is there in the air.
Because otherwise, people just look and go, "Oh, he's got Dragon Strike," you know.
The Graviton Surge comes in after the Transcendence. It's just picture perfect play from looking for Org.
We're not getting fed statistics. No, not really. We have a stats thing in front of us. We kind of have to feed ourselves from the iPad.
But patience.
Yeah, just ask Hex stuff. He's in chat.
From Sora, and an absolute beauty of a Graviton Surge. Looking for Org, they come in, they send the Dragon Strike, which, by the way, Low Life has back already. And then they come in, they Earth Shatter, it only takes down one. The Pharah is there in the air. The Graviton Surge comes in after.
Okay, so your breakdown of the fight is like this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, which no one remembers now. Like no one remembers all that stuff. So the events that you're referring to are super hard to remember. So I think a break, especially in a fight that we all saw was quite chaotic, just try and zoom out a bit. Go bigger picture on the fight. Talk about, overall what ultimates were committed to the fight, not necessarily in chronological order, but just like, here's how it went. You know what I mean? Set up with a big graviton. There was a lot of follow-up damage despite, a defensive transcendence they managed to overcome that. Like, that's good. Like, even that, you can orbit around that point. Like, why wasn't the trans enough from BGH? Was it because it was badly timed or not in the right spot or something like that? You can probably just try not to just go this, then this, then this, then this, then this, because you lost me because I'm already watching what's going. Remember, people are watching what's on the screen, so you can cause confusion or make it harder for them to absorb.
The transcendence, it's just picture perfect play from looking for Orc, and they take point 2. Point 3 on the way here.
So don't get mixed up between B and 2. If it's point B and point 3, point B and point C, then try and keep them that way.
Here, due to looking for that headshot and finds it.
Good throw at the first headshot. Team's it's about to start, so LemonKiwi is set up effectively now to play by play. So I'm happy with that.
Oh, is he gonna want to stay on that fair though? Dudu is such a scary widow as a Dragon Strike just clears the lane, and Godman so aggressive, eats the dink, but the melee's the one who finishes him off. I love the way Godman has been playing so aggressive, a pivotal part of looking for Org, looking to finish the map. You're at 3 minutes and 45. This is an incredible time bank for an offense. Dudu's getting pressure from all angles, not being able to be effective. Liko has to switch now to the Tracer for that payload pressure.
Good pickup on the Tracer switch mid-team fight. I like that.
To quickly get back to the point, Searchy has to use the Transcendence. This could be it, but the stall is still there from Brazil Gaming House. I believe the Reinhardt is still alive, but the
This overtime reminds me of myself. All right, let's go back a little bit.
Who finished
after the Transcendence, it's just picture perfect play from looking for Orc, and they take point 2. Point 3 on the way here, due to looking for that headshot and finds it.
Oh, is he gonna want to stay on that fair though? Dudu is such a scary widow.
All right, so that's fair. I'm okay with that one.
As a Dragon Strike just clears the lane, and
try and be specific about whose Dragon Strike it is.
Godman playing so aggressive, eats the dink, but the melee's the one who finishes him off.
So the problem with you elongating that, I think in this team fight, or at least in this part of the team fight, Dudu getting killed was kind of like the hill you chose to die on, so to speak, because you spend so much time on that, which is fine, but like you talk about a triumphant moment for this Widow player when he got fire struck in the next Tuesday, like in the next second. So what this causes you to do is you're a little bit behind the play, because despite Dudu being sick and getting that kill, he got a kill and then he killed the Res Farah, which would generally be a lot in this fight, but it's not enough. But we're espousing the brilliance of this player whilst his team is losing the fight very badly. For example, the Reinhardt dying here, and obviously you're stressing this win in a duel where I wouldn't say it's the most important one in the fight now because of what's going on.
I love the way Godman has been playing so aggressive.
So like you like the way Godman's been playing, but it got him killed twice in the last 5 seconds, and that's fine if you want to like maybe insert a feeling about that. But the team fight's still going. That's something that you can put sort of after it. Matt, it's not even how you spell the word, bro.
Pivotal part of looking for Org, looking to finish the
Yeah, so I mean, like, I would agree that like his aggression has I guess been effective. It wasn't effective in that moment because he got completely outskilled by this guy, and his aggression in this case did not win looking for Org the fight, I would say, in this case. So I think it's just interesting that that's the hill you choose when obviously as this fight's still going. Maybe something that you sort of decided on in the moment, and then a lot of other stuff happened, which is fine. But we miss a lot.
We're at 3 minutes and 45. This is an incredible time bank for an offense.
Good. I'm glad you mentioned the time left. I think that's the first time it's happened this round. And you also mentioned that it's a really good time bank.
Dudu's getting pressure from all angles.
Also correct. A lot of people pressuring him. He's finally dead.
Not being able to be effective. Liko has to switch now to the Tracer for that payload pressure to quickly get...
Yeah, I'd say payload pressure, you could probably go for a little bit to stall it out. I mean, like, payload pressure is a little bit general in this case.
back to the point. Searchy has to use the Transcendence. This could be it, but the stall is still there from Brazil Gaming House. I believe the
that's unfortunate. So you mentioned that the stall is still there, but it's actually not. It was maybe there at the moment that the thought came into your head, but when it came out your mouth, the stall was not there. So I suppose it can be a little bit hard from the view that you have. That's all. Thanks for the bits, Maximus. Big 30 bits. That's what we'd like to see.
For that payload pressure.
Yeah, so it's a little bit hard. So I'll avoid trying to make definitive statements on like the status of the fight then, if I can't see it.
Quickly get back.
I think you can see it here, right? Like the stall is not really there. It's just the Tracer who's run out of blinks.
To the point, Searchy has to use the Transcendence.
Oh, there's a run.
Be it, but the stall is still there from Brazil Gaming House.
Yeah, I think at the moment when you say this could be it, you could sort of go down the path that this is probably over, but.
I believe the Reinhardt is still alive, but the barrage will end it right here.
Avoid, I believe that something's happening, or I believe, in this case anyway, you try and want to be a little bit more decisive. Obviously, Neil dies there, so that's fine.
For Godman and looking for Org, finishing, like I said, with a fantastic time bank.
Looking for Org will not need to ask for anyone to clap for them because good Lord, that was an absolute show on attack. They make Brazil Gaming House look weak. Something we haven't seen from anyone so far here in Contenders South America.
Thanks for the bits, fam.
House this season have been monsters.
Demi-Asian man, the real seal.
Just
Thanks.
how strong they've been through the history of South America, and looking for Org on that attack round, an impressive showing.
So I really like I like the breakdown here. Yes, it's not specific about the fights, but I don't really care because you give us a good historical, like a historical gem, I suppose, or a good explanation of like why is this a big deal? Like you're saying it's a big deal, but then you tell me why it means something that Brazil Gaming House is losing. So when you tune into the stream, if I tune into this stream, someone who doesn't get to watch much South American Contenders, and I'm told this, I will want to stay and watch because this is what you as the commentator and as the resident expert in this scenario would consider to be out of the ordinary or notable.
Show on attack. They make Brazil Gaming House look weak. Something we haven't seen from anyone so far here in Contenders South America. Brazil Gaming House this season have been monsters. It's tough to emphasize just how strong they've been through the history of South America, and looking for Org on that attack round, an impressive showing.
Yeah, I like that.
And due to a couple of headshots, it's cool, it's great, but if you don't actually get the team wipes, if you don't actually get the team kills, looking for Org are able to work their way through, and that was, and I can't emphasize just how all the way through.
you're losing me. You're losing me a little bit on just like how much of a big deal this is. I think it's probably like the third time, and you tend to. I see when you're looking for a superlative, you tend to take a big deep breath and you sort of slow down, and this is not something you want to do. So if something's a big deal, then sort of say it. But I don't want to see you there just like grabbing for like superlatives to use here because it makes me feel like you're over dramatizing it slightly.
Actually get the team kills. Looking for Org are able to work their way through, and that was, and I can't emphasize just how good Looking for Org has looked so far in attack on this map. Can they bring it back now on the defense and take that map win? Because again, that attack round just clean all the way through.
Yeah, so and as a result, I see you gave me like the historical basis for why this is a big deal, but because you're spending so much time reaching for superlatives, there is literally zero specifics. There is literally zero moments that you're pointing out that are pivotal, and that's kind of something you do want to do at the end of a round is to identify pivotal moments or identify important plays and try and recap in a way, because I think your opening is fine, but then we get lost in fluffy big world land and we don't get to really pay off what we saw at all, except you telling us, a couple times that this is important or this is big or notable or whatever.
For Org, shut down this.
Take that map win, because again, that attack round just clean all the way through.
Could this possibly be the map that Looking for Org shut down this streak from Brazil Gaming House. Like you said, they looked great, but mainly the way Looking for Org are playing. The only way you're going to stop Brazil
So I'm hoping here that you give me something specific.
Gaming House is if you match that aggression. Godman's Fair is sitting on top of Dudu's
That's the aggression I want. That's the aggression. That's the specificness I want.
faces Widowmaker, and even you have Lowlife as the Hanzo climbing up and running after Dudu as well. So
That's
Brazil
Dudu,
Gaming
man.
House have to be careful. Widowmaker.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Hello? Jen?
It's
Hello?
I mean, I guess
So
Okay, so obviously it might cut out there. So the one specific thing we do is like, yeah, we're talking about their aggression, and I wouldn't let this go, but you give me an example from Godman, and you give me a recent example when he was sitting on top of the Widowmaker as far as, so that for me, that's good. I'm happy with that.
if you match that aggression. Godman's Fair is sitting on top of Dudu's face as Widowmaker, and even you have
There's just so much wrong with that sentence, I don't even... I would say be careful saying that someone is sitting on someone's face. I don't think I need to explain that. But yeah. Just because, you know what.
Lowlife as the Hanzo climbing up and running after Dudu as well. So Brazil Gaming
The connotation
House
is
has to be
something we'd
careful.
prefer to
Widowmaker-
avoid.
Attackers incoming in
Yeah,
30
see?
seconds.
You got banned from talking
it's
because of that.
I mean, I guess the only counter to Farah is actually killing her, which
Very true.
goes for all the heroes, realistically speaking.
So is it really a counter then? Can you, yeah, is there anything else there to dig out?
Unless I guess if you're sitting in, like, you're literally sitting in spawnist orb, hammering away at a turret, which I've seen a little bit too much of in my time in Overwatch. But it is gonna be Brazil Gaming House. They're opening with what looks like Goat.
So I get an I mean, you gotta be careful trying to call a team comp before they get out the gates, right? You're much better talking about looking for orgs team. But I mean, maybe there's nothing notable there, so that's also fine. Don't and ah.
Minus the Diva with a Hanzo. Looking for Orc, playing that Hanzo. No Widowmaker on their side, something that they've been kind of loath to do. So it is going to try and beat this attack around. They're going to try and find a better showing BGH here. And an early slow setup from themselves.
Yeah, so I mean, early slow setup. Yes and no. I mean, they're not rushing onto the point, but I want to start hearing now about the fact that they're going to move to the point, and Liko's going to try and sit up on the right side and flank here.
Liko is set up on a crossfire.
Thank you.
While everybody's taking their attention towards the left side
Thank you.
of Hotel, Liko's going to be trying to find picks from anyone sticking out of the shield from Looking for Org. But looks like they're still holding their ground. They've dropped down their Diva and they're rotating around.
So again, make sure the first time you mention a team, because you just talked about Brazil Gaming House, and then you use the term they. And I think you're still talking about BGH. So the first time that when you change teams you're referring to, use their name.
To not give up too much objective time. But as I say that, one take already
As I say, that is a filler word. Avoid it.
earned shield from
It's a filler phrase.
Looking for Org. But looks like they're still holding their ground. They've dropped down their Diva and they're rotating around to not give up too much
But don't overuse it at least. If I get it once, that's fine.
objective time. But as I say that, one take already earned here for Brazil Gaming House as Looking for Org setting up their own crossfire with a Junkrat. But they have to deny this.
Oh, Semler dressed you down, Hex? God damn. Well, I mean, it's a fair point, isn't it? It's a fair point. You know what though? I still give Semler shit the first time we cast together. He did it. I did a broadcast. That's, bro. Welcome to the school of hard knocks. Don't worry. Like I've cast with Semler before, even though he was literally he was not giving any fucks when we cast together. He was not having it that day. It was way back.
Space here finally.
I give him shit about it now as well. it was a rough cast actually, because I was like a little bit nervous, and I was. You know, he was just chilling on it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this guy because he doesn't want to be here.
Too much objective time, but as I say that,
it was ESL Pro League.
one take already earned here for Brazil Gaming House as Looking for Org setting up their own crossfire with a Junkrat. But they have to deny this space here. Finally, Mate's going to drop down.
So, yeah. I feel like the casting in this fight is like a 60-70%.
And as everyone
Take already
Maybe more of a 70%.
out of shield from looking for Org, but looks like they're still holding their ground. They've dropped
They are still holding their ground.
down their diva and they're rotating around to not give up too objective time. Too much objective
Too much objective time. That's unfortunate.
time, but as I say, that one take already earned here.
See how like one sort of starter can sort of mess you up for the next sentence or so. T-Dog, I do self-review a fair bit. No, 70% in terms of 70% of the things that I want to see.
For Brazil Gaming House as looking for Org setting up their own crossfire with a Junkrat, but they have to deny this space here. Finally, Mate.
Yeah, so it's a little bit too fast because what you're doing like you've gone from macro to micro to macro to micro. So you're doing like a lot of this. And if you do it too much, it's a bit confusing. So you say they, like this is a very nebulous term, right? They, as in looking for Org, they are trying to, they need to control the point. And then you reference a specific player dropping down, which is fine. But if you're switching from macro to micro, you can't just do it all in one. You really need to try and like imply or sort of generate a shift in momentum or pace or tone or something, because it's a little bit hard to follow.
He's gonna drop down.
And as everyone knows, the counter to a high ground Lucio or a high ground Junkrat is actually Lucio. Everyone is very familiar with this particular thing, and Brazil Gaming House gonna play that in perspective. Alamang able to spam out the Junkrat from Godman. Godman unable to really.
You could just keep analyzing there. You don't have to do the play-by-play for the cleanup.
But they have to deny this space here. Finally,
I am going back and forth a lot on this fight, guys. There's just a lot here.
Mate's gonna drop down.
And as everyone knows, the counter to a high ground.
So not everyone knows that. I assume, like, if you got hardcore viewers, maybe. If all your viewers are the ones that said they used to watch Apex, then I guess you're fine. But yeah, you can. I like that you're breaking that down though, like talking about Lucio to counter out the high ground Junkrat. But you can maybe expand on that a little bit more and then do a bit more analysis.
Lucio or high ground Junkrat is actually Lucio. Everyone is very familiar with this particular thing, and Brazil Gaming House gonna play that in perspective. Alamang able to
play that in perspective. I don't know what that means. So then you're switching now to like play-by-play in a fight that's done. You probably don't need to do it.
spam out the Junkrat from.
Yes, a lot of people watch Apex. I don't know why people are proud of it. I cast the Alpha Cast tournament in the first week of closed beta. Who gives a shit? Oh man, who gives a shit?
Unable to really do a lot of pressure into that.
Sure as hell, it's the amount of people that I've seen like talk about watching Apex and then imply that it means that they know something about the game or know more than someone else is just mind-boggling.
Backline with
Stop.
the Junkrat, and that will open that first attack. That first point for Brazil Gaming House was fat, as looking for Org was on their first attack.
Thanks for the sub, Nari.
Equaled by BGH.
Big 2-month sub.
Now comes the
Welcome
early
back.
pressure on here through Streets phase.
Somehow I feel like that there was a lot of nothing there. Yeah, but see, Peronius, it only counts if you watched it when it was called Apex. Now that it's called Contenders Career, it's not nearly as hardcore.
Or high ground Junkrat is actually Lucio. Everyone is very familiar with this particular thing, and Brazil Gaming House gonna play that in perspective. Alamang able to spam out the.
So that fight was quite grindy, and there were definitely moments that were pivotal there, and I'd like to be hearing them brought up.
Junkrat from Godman. Godman unable to really do a lot of pressure into that backline with the Junkrat, and that will open.
Why was he unable to do that? And maybe that's part of your point. Maybe that's part of your whole Lucio into high ground Junkrat thing that you were trying to say beforehand. Godman getting shut down by that, perhaps that was the case. But I need the why.
Open that first attack, that first point for.
Yeah, you know, it's didn't even watch Overdrive.
For Brazil Gaming House was fat, as looking for Org was on their first attack.
Because you mentioned that they were not as fast.
They're going to be equaled by BGH. Now comes the early pressure on here through Streets phase. As looking for Org trying to find their way back into the defensive posture.
You haven't really said anything in the last 5 to 10 seconds like, at all. Like stuff that like we can kind of see. I mean, you should probably point out that like you say there's the early pressure onto the point, but you could sort of say like they are pushed up very far. And the fact that they just got a kill there is pretty ridiculous. So that's going to have to be a res, which the Mercy won't have for when the fight actually happens, potentially. But like you can't just say like, oh yeah, they were. You could say they were slightly faster, but just leave it at that. They were slightly faster or they're slightly slower. And now they're pushing aggressively, trying to find some extra ult percentage before the fight really starts. Like you need to give me some more than that, because that's just like 10, 15 seconds of, it's like watching ads on American TV. You know what I mean? Maybe slightly better, but still like about as informative.
Sure, they're going to be committing the Riptire, but Low Life goes down at the start.
Oh, Godman, let's see what he can find coming around the end, but is it spotted here? The supports might have seen it. Gets behind the shield and still finds the triple kill.
Why?
Neil not able to save his teammates. As
he didn't die either.
We're gonna get a quick replay of that Riptire, because if there's something both these teams need to know here on this first part of Streets phase, is that a Riptire should not get a 3K. It does both times, and now they're stalled out yet again. Lico taking out Low Life. They're unable to
Oh, gotta every man for himself, fam. That's how it is. That's just the best. Okay, it's a good reaction, yeah.
wreck that because it was just used.
Ali Mong being very aggressive as the Widowmaker. Shatter comes down. The Transcendence has to be used to keep everybody top tier.
Okay, so you've said that the Shatter comes down from who? Not sure. The Transcendence has to come down to keep them topped up from who? Who are these abilities? What teams are using these abilities? Because you're just telling me ability names, but I don't know. Was it a Transcendence to back up the Shatter of the attacking team? Or was it a Transcendence used by the defensive team to mitigate the impact of it?
Topped up for Brazil Gaming House on top of the rally. The Graviton here used from Honorado.
Cool, so like at least there, you tell me who it's from, but I can see it's like constipated information, right? Like you're trying to squeeze out who it's from. So definitely something you want to work on is like giving me the facts, because I think what you're doing is good, because ultimates are not something that you can straight up see on the kill feed, right? So that's something that I think that a caster definitely has to identify. I mean, it's shocking camera angles to work with, to be honest. It's a little bit tough, but if you're going to give me the info, if you're going to say there's a grab, you got to tell me who it's from, especially because right now, like, the skins are like this, so, like, it's a little bit hard to tell the difference between them. But yeah, I need the why, and I also need the who from. Like, you can tell me an event, but if I don't know where an event is occurring and who precipitated said event, the information is just piling up, and I don't have any way of linking what you're saying to what's occurring in front of me, except for, oh, I see that grav. Hydration bot, come at me.
Is the follow-up there? The kills are coming through. Mati trying to keep his shield up in the Mercy.
Oh, Bren's master now, Matt. Can't shit talk the boss.
He's just trying to die on cart as looking for Org. Had a pretty good stop there, thanks to the Riptire of Godman.
And Brazil Gaming House a lot more efficient there in how they use their ultimates. They only use the Graviton Surge and Transcendence, I believe, as well as the Earth Shatter, whereas looking for Org, they throw a little bit more into it. They're able to get a couple of kills, but not enough to really turn that around. And Low Life, as strong as it's been early on, has been being picked off by his counterpart on VGH, and so...
Well, what do you mean? Like, Brazil Gaming House, you said that they put more into the fight? I assume that's what you mean, but then they got less out, but they won the fight. So, you know, they committed more to it, but they didn't lose the fight. You know what I mean?
To be able to prevent that, they're going to have to turn that around. Here comes that Riptire from Godman yet again, Lemon.
Oh, right in the middle of a Dragon Strike. So unlucky. And now Lemon even boops the tire away. Great use of the Lucio. Lico dinks on the supports as he finishes off. Oh my god,
shit on.
Disgusting. Brazil Gaming House get point B. 5 minutes left to finish the map.
All right, so if that's what you mentioned before, Jen, about your reaction there to the fight, I don't really mind that. I mean, here's my opinion. If a guy did that, no one would complain, would they? So, don't worry about it.
They're going to have to turn that around. Here comes that Riptire from Godman yet again, Lemon.
Oh, right in the middle of a Dragon Strike. So unlucky. And now Lemon even boops the tire away. Great use of the Lucio. Lico dinks on the supports as he finished him off. Oh my god.
If you listen to ZP or Semler, like, these guys are like, it's just pure glee, like 24/7. No one shits on them about it.
Lico is disgusting. Brazil Gaming
Just be
House
yourself.
get point B. 5 minutes left to finish the map.
Lico now has been an absolute tear with his Hanzo, and it continues into this third point as Calero assists the kill. Low Life going down yet again, so he's been on the receiving end of a lot more projectiles than he's dished out, and he will have to turn this back around as with 4 minutes remaining, the time bank isn't that different here. Liko on the high ground.
Hello?
Liko's now has been an absolute tear with this Hanzo, and it continues into this third point as Colero assists the kill. Low life going down yet again.
Yeah, so I don't think you need to call that kill at all. I think you could keep talking about Liko.
So he's been on the receiving end a lot more projectiles than he's.
Well, okay, it is a big kill because he gets to these snipes him through here, but I mean, it's not. He's not assisting. That motherfucker's out there just like hitting mad big right clicks.
Fished out, and he will have to turn this back around as with 4 minutes remaining, the time bank isn't that different here. Liko on the high ground, kind of uncontested, and this cart has moved ever so forward. And now,
you know what? Like this, you can really just take the foot off the pedal here, right? You are literally play-by-playing. You are play-by-playing a non-fight. So you are casting as if you're at least at the pace of a play-by-play with the amount of words when there's actually nothing happening except a couple picks early on. I just think you can let it breathe and actually have a conversation here. It's just too much, and there's a lot of density here of information where realistically they're sniping each other. They are trying to get kills on each other.
Around is with 4 minutes remaining.
Because then when you switch into a team fight, then like it's going to sound the same or even more intense. Like let it breathe here.
The time bank isn't that different here. Liko on the high ground, kind of uncontested, and this.
When it comes to casting too fast, T-Dog, there is a time and a place, my man. That's the important distinction.
Cart has moved
when nothing's happening, is probably not when that has to happen.
Ever so forward, and now not a whole lot left. Liko going down yet again, or taking another kill rather yet again.
Oh, there's
Graviton coming
Graviton.
in.
And there's the combination available here. Low life at the perfect angle, and there's the pin out of nowhere.
Okay, so the laughing here is fine, but you're in the hot seat now. You're casting, so try and keep as clear as you can with that kind of stuff. If you want to laugh and react, don't let it compromise your flow. That's all I ask of you. If you can maintain the fundamentals required in your position, then you could fucking sit on a unicycle and juggle while casting for all I care. But make sure you make sure that you're clear and concise, and then you can worry about the rest.
Liko on the high ground, kind of uncontested, and this cart has moved ever so forward. And now not a whole lot left. Liko going down yet again, or taking another kill rather yet again.
Oh, there's Graviton.
Coming in.
Now, see, I know you want to talk, right? You probably should wait for the throw there, and the throw should have come already or before that, because when you give a bit more air, you can just go back and forth, right? It wouldn't just be one guy talking all the time. There's a little bit too much like, I'm going to do my thing, you're going to do your thing. And I can see where it becomes a problem is when Jen is actually cutting in. So you should never really have to do that, because you should never feel like you need to be in. You should be in when you should be in, right?
And there's the combination available here. Low life at the perfect angle.
The combination, slightly more specific, so Graviton, Dragon Strike, or whatever the combination was. I assume that was what it was.
There's the pin.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously we talked about this
Out of nowhere, they had no idea, trying to hide from the disaster going on.
Who had no idea? Who? I mean, I kind of get who had no idea, but you need to tell me.
But Mate doesn't survive that one, and they're going for the finish. Brazil Gaming House advancing.
I mean, look at Matt. Like, he manages to cast properly while balancing on like a 3-foot box. It's pretty impressive.
Payload just worrying about low life here into the back. Very big threat here onto the high ground as Brazil Gaming House and a time bank advantage, but not by much. Looking for Orc could stall this one out to make this more even, and Mate brings down the hammer. Does he finish off Neil as Colero brings the Transcendence to keep his front line alive, but they don't deny the resurrect from Lukavi.
That's so good. You point out that they allow him to get a resurrect.
And a Dragon Strike clears the lane, and it clears the stall from looking for Org, and Brazil
Pretty
Gaming
good.
House managed to finish the map with a
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're out of breath, you should throw.
Yes,
if
King's
you
Row.
can't,
One of our
if you don't think that you have the lung capacity to keep going, then you should probably throw it. Honestly speaking, no bias. I'm actually incredible. I'm even able to do it in douche outfits. Matt, you did it in douche outfits for the entirety of the Overwatch League Season 1, bro. You had practice.
Speedrun.
Well, I didn't really sound breathless, no. But if you felt breathless, then you should throw.
It's coming to a charity event near you. It is going to be first BGH taking the defensive, and they go down to 323, and they're like, yeah, that's okay. We'll come
So both these teams got steamrolled on defense. Good to know.
right back in on our attack round, go much faster, 352, so they gain some extra time. In fact, both these teams with a very aggressive showing, and
Well, or no, the team can defend, but I get your point.
as much as I praise looking for Org on their attack run in terms of patience with ultimates, the same cannot be said for their defense. A Graviton Surge that captures a Lucio on point and nothing else. Attack run in terms of patience with ultimates.
See, when did that happen? When did that Lucio getting solo grabbed? I don't even remember it. I don't know if it was pointed out or not.
The same cannot be said for their defense. A Graviton Surge that captures a Lucio on point and nothing else, not good. Swarin, that Graviton Surge is not the best showing, and then the Dragon Strike obviously not going to find a lot of kills.
So, like, again, the Graviton Surge where, on what point? Like you said, I think you said on the point, but what point?
I mean, looking for Org, you're okay with how your attack went, but your defense needs a lot more work. And
I'm hoping there's going to be a throw real soon.
Again, BGH,
because there's no back and forth.
Cement themselves a second map in our series here. BGH a real
no, you throw there. I could time how long you've been talking, but I don't think that's necessary.
Not the best showing, and then the Dragon Strike
because it's not a discussion then anymore. Like it's not a conversation. It's literally like you guys are individually pontificating when it's your turn.
Obviously not going to find a lot of kills. I mean, looking for Org.
Like, are you talking? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to Jen or are you talking to us?
You're okay.
Or are you talking to? Like,
with how your attack
Like
went, but your defense needs a lot more work. And though they turn right back around, it's their attack again. BGH now have the opportunity to cement themselves a second map in our series here. BGH a really, really good attack themselves.
Okay, so the throw here is fine. This is a great chance to even ask a question or ask for LemonKiwi's thoughts. Like, what do you think about that? Or, you know, or you could just say, LemonKiwi, it seems that both teams had a lot of trouble defending, right? And then you give, and by the way, I assume that you are the color caster, Lafon, and Kiwi's doing the play-by-play. But there's nothing wrong with asking a question. Matt even asks me a question every now and then if he wants to continue to spark discussion between us. But you guys, like, it's both of you I want you both to contribute to this. It is harder. It is harder when you're not in the same room together. But like, and this is personal, my opinion, right? What me and Matt try and do is, like, it's a 3-person conversation, right? Because the viewer is involved in me. It's like me and Matt we just sit in the car on the way to work. We just talk about Overwatch and like Wonder and Theory Craft and stuff like that. So we try and take that onto the stage and take our friendship, you know, and basically put it here. And you guys might not have that and you're not there in person, which is fine, but just try and have a bit more back and forth and have a discussion. That's a really good way to make sure that you will have flow. Yeah, otherwise it's just like, I will deliver my point and then you can go, but then I will then be going again and then you can go. But after that, it's definitely my turn to talk again. Try and eliminate this approach.
And BGH is one of those teams that love to run Lucio. That's how they're trying to match that aggression from looking for Org. Alamong on that Lucio looks so good, especially how you can use the Lucio to temporarily boop away a Riptire and give yourself just an extra 2 seconds to shoot it down. And that's been pivotal for Brazil Gaming House to counter Godman in that sense, who Godman now switches to the Fair at the last.
So booping Riptires? I guess that's a very specific example. Yeah, Matt in chat is explaining it. So Matt might have a lot of things he wants to talk about, but he uses me as a device to keep the conversation authentic without him having to go on for ages.
Last minute, we've got double projectile in a sense, the 2-2-2 from looking for Org, but Brazil Gaming House go back to this 3-2-1. This is how they lost their fight so quickly last time.
And this time the concussive blast isn't eaten. They do knock someone off the high ground, so that early high ground pressure unavailable.
Yeah, who got knocked off though? I guess you can't see that, but if you don't know who got knocked off and no one dies from it, it's sort of hard to say.
For BGH, as they're gonna have to reset here due to looking for that long flank, trying to find those headshots. And
Bren, is that you?
Yet, but Lowlife picks up the first kill.
Oh, this is the objective time going in for.
Okay, not only does Lowlife get the first kill, but he removes one of the snipers as well from BGH. So again, it's like he gets the first kill. What does it mean? Does it actually mean anything? Now Dudu's in trouble. Because Godman, like, Godman is playing Farah into a double sniper composition. You crazy bastard. But he does that. He gets aggressive when he knows that he can get away with it. Because at the start of a fight, Godman knows he's going to be walking into a crossfire between two snipers. But when low life, his Hanzo finds the enemy Hanzo, he knows that he can pressure the Widow down and he doesn't have to worry about getting shot in the back by another Hanzo. So there's a change of gear with that first pick. And if you can identify what the ramifications are of that first kill, instead of just feeding me information, instead of literally just telling me something that's on the kill feed, but you can add value by saying that Godman now can safely engage in this kind of behavior, you instantly triple the value you're adding now especially as a color caster.
We're looking for Org, low life winning the Hanzo battle. Godman messing with Dudu's head. Widow is not a counter to Farah. Godman says no, but looking for Org. Pretty much have the
A good chance to mention that Farah's getting up in Widow's faces, like pressuring out a Widowmaker is very important.
point capped up, just getting the cleanup here. And this was just as clean as their last time they saw 3-2-1 from Brazil Gaming House.
Yeah, BGH somehow not really being able to get their rotations properly with that composition. Again, perhaps this is the first time they've really been challenged with this particular defensive setup, but they lose point A as definitively as they do.
I mean, like, some fights are really straightforward. Thanks for the host, Bren. Welcome, Bren subs and viewers. So I think this is fine because this is a case where one kill decides the way the fight goes. But if you can't give me a flowchart or a roadmap as to why the fight resolved in the way it did because of that first kill, then you're not doing your job. So your job is to, as an analyst, is to look for the information that the viewer isn't necessarily going to be immediately presented with. So if you can't give me the why or the how, then you're not giving me anything. You know what I mean? So you need to tell me, like, how did the fight break down? I know there was a kill. I could read the kill feed. I saw it. You know what I mean? I've watched Apex. I could read the kill feed, but I want to know why it's so important that with the first sniper being picked off can turn Godman on and allow him to play in a different way. This is things that you need to be looking for.
They did the first time around, as you mentioned.
Yeah, what's up? I do stream.
Defense
Sometimes.
You're on Streets phase, and they don't have that Riptire like they did last time to prevent it. Actually, they have no ultimates here on this second part, so they're gonna have to win out with just sheer positional advantage.
That is correct, I think.
Big advantage to looking for Org. They're going to be way closer on their Graviton Dragon.
Thank you. So there you go. So it's almost as if you, in the past, took my advice or you checked yourself on this. Instead of just saying their combination, you mentioned that it's a Graviton Dragon Strike. It's something that it might seem really onerous to have to repeat this, but you're sort of doing it, and it's important. It's very beneficial that you sort of commentate in that way. That first pick is pretty bad for LF4, though. I'd almost...
straight combination.
Let's see what they do.
Brazil Gaming House, so Honorado's so quick on building that.
Yeah,
he had
we
actually
peace out.
built it just as quick as Swarin when he had swapped to Zarya in this.
So we're discussing ult generation here. I'm glad we're not play-by-playing that one kill in the fight, but you can mention this is an indicator of just how pivotal Godman is to looking for Org and their attacking strategy when they disengage from a fight upon his death.
Exact situation last time on the last rotation, but now a shatter comes down from Mate. He's gotten a bunch. You see the pin coming out of nowhere.
Well, I wonder if you are laughing at the fact that they changed the camera angle there. Fine to laugh there as long as, again, you maintain clarity.
Zarya in this exact situation last time on the last rotation, but now a shatter comes down.
It's like you took a second to process that, so now you're a little bit behind because you're laughing sort of and you're sort of going back and processing.
From Mate, he's gotten a bunch, and you see the pin coming out of nowhere from Neil. Looking for Org, looking to sustain here onto this payload as tons of
very generic
available, but you see everyone
looking to sustain onto this payload. Super generic.
You see the pin coming out of nowhere from Neil. Looking for Org, looking to sustain here onto this payload as tons of ultimates are available, but you see everyone wants to be patient. They want to keep that for the point being.
So it's less about, I guess it's less about the patience, but it's more important, like there's a transcendence here, so they can get aggressive. They only lose the Zarya from this Earth Shatter, so Liko stays alive. There's the charge, okay. So there's a charge there from Neil as Mate was trying to follow up, and I think that's quite big. They still lose their Zarya here, ostensibly because the shielding isn't there.
A bunch, and you see the pin coming out of nowhere from Neil. Looking for Org, looking to sustain here onto this payload.
Yeah, you could just say this game is ridiculous, but I don't know how Honorado died. It's impossible to know. But basically, Neil saves the fight. hits a sick charge. He eventually does die to... Oh, well, actually, no, he dies,
As
right?
tons of
Yeah, no, he
are
dies to mate
available.
because he charged him. He's a boss.
But you see, everyone wants
And
to
they get a
be
res on the
patient. They wanna
Hanzo.
keep that for the point B engagement.
So it's less about their saving ults, it's more that they just won the fight because Mate just grew massive balls and fucking charged.
Honorado kills himself with his own right click. It's an unfortunate situation.
Okay,
but
so there you go. That's how
Zarya goes
the
down,
Zarya died.
opens it up, even though that
Well, I mean, if you see a Zarya self-death, you can assume on a map where she can't fall off, it's a right click.
first kill did actually go to BGH, looking for Org, able to come right back in, and again,
Yeah, so like, your casting can only be good as the observing.
that's what Ultimate Economy will do to you. You're able to play a little bit more aggressively than BGH is, and now they have an opportunity to come
I mean, are they play? I guess they weren't really. I guess they were aggressing.
out with that Graviton Dragon Strike combo and just win this next fight directly.
Oh, and there's Liko's Dragon Strike to at least seal off point B and a responding Dragon Strike. Now it's the Hanzo battle. This is so important. Liko now is going to have a crossfire.
What is important?
But
What is
God,
important?
Man, great communication for looking for Org. They notice
Was it the Hanzo battle that was important?
the threat. They seal it off, including pushing the payload to point B. So looking for Org, they invest the ultimates, and it pays off.
What
Really
ultimates? You know what I mean? Like where this is it's a little general.
There's Liko's Dragon Strike to at least seal off point B and a responding Dragon Strike. Now it's the Hanzo battle. This is so important. Liko now is going to have a crossfire, but God, man, great.
I see. So you're saying, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like for Liko to be positioned there, it is crucial.
Great communication
Timing was a bit rough to you.
for looking for Org. They notice the threat.
No, I wouldn't want to be spectating myself. I want to cast from a feed so I can focus on what I'm seeing.
They seal it off, including pushing the payload to
Matt might want to be in game, but I sure don't.
point B. So looking for Org, they invest the ultimates, and it pays off.
And they don't even need to commit everything, right? Like once they got that point, you're able to save the barrage from Godman. You're able to really have Mateo build that Earth Shadow for the next fight. And Lucavi, they're able to just rotate their support ultimates, do a great job. Calero uses the Transcendence in a lost fight. And it's going to be last point here with 20 seconds remaining. Looking for Org going pretty much.
Yeah, so I think the general theme for this is that I'm getting a lot of info, but none of it's contextualized necessarily. Like Calero uses a Transcendence in a lost fight. Is that bad? Did he use it too early? Did he think they were going to be able to win it still? Did it get shut down by a Dragon Strike? Yeah, my current rank or my peak rank, Arthazar? Both are very different.
The map.
And Dudu just switched to Brigitte. He's not feeling the Widowmaker as much. He's not able to counter Godman. He's getting pressured too much, and now he wants to assist in the tank battle, aiding Neil to get these shatters down. Brazil Gaming House losing their main tank. Now looking for Org, looking to finish the map, and this is an overtime situation. Looking for Org cannot afford to lose a single member. They'll have, Sergi dies, and he was about to get Transcendence.
They have what?
Part
Okay.
of the upcoming sustain install, but they have to stay here onto the payload. Looking for Org, are losing members. Dragon Strike to cut off the lane from Brazil Gaming House, and the sustain is here. Even Honorado has a.
I'm getting a lot of time sustain, trying to sustain onto the payload. The sustain is here. Avoid it and use try and use the healing. They have that extra healing there. From what? Well, BGH, they have Calero there, or they have Alamal using his amp it up.
Leftover Graviton looking for Org. We're in the number advantage, but the payload will stop right here.
And that entire fight, Matei just absolutely unlucky. He hits that Earth Shadow, and Dudu's right there with that Brigitte. Hits the stun. The Earth Shadow is gone. No availability there. And though looking forward to get a couple of kills, they're in a bad situation with no ultimates. Searchy unable to get that final 5% for that Transcendence. And they're going to be content. They're going to have to be content with only 5 points. They do push it most of the way to that 6th. But now Brazil Gaming House, 3 minutes and 52.
At 6th, yeah, again, that's super not specific. Should probably just say, almost push it to the end.
Seconds, and they have to essentially complete that map. That yellow box of victory all the way on 3rd. And looking for Org, though they do not finish the map. And I think they kind of wish they did.
Bro, yeah, I mean, you're already telling me that. Like you told me they almost got 6. And then you tell me they didn't finish the map and that they wish they did. Of course they wish they did. Wouldn't you? Of course you want to finish the damn map. There's nothing here. You guys, and you could do so much more with this by, bringing Jen in a bit more, or just having some back and forth. But there's nothing here.
they are still in a great position here as they set up defensively. Kings Row has been a show, no matter what the outcome is here.
A show. It's been a show. What kind of show? Good, bad show. Why has it been a show? Again, there's nothing.
And BGH.
And this is this. It might seem like I'm drilling this home a lot. This is something that a lot of casters do. When's the last time we did a shoey? It's been ages, actually. All my shoes now. I don't want to really shoey. I guess I could shoey out of one pair of shoes, but I don't really. I haven't shoeyed on camera, that's for sure. Yeah, like it might seem like I'm being really hard and drilling this point in, but like you cannot sit there and just put your mouth on autopilot and like give me these platitudes, because any discerning viewer is going to see through that straight away and go, stop pissing in my ear and tell me something that I can't already tell by looking at the screen. It's your job. That is your job as an analyst, is to go deeper than just what is very obvious. And if you can't do that, then be a play-by-play caster, because then you don't have to think that much deeper. I want to know the why and the how, and I get too much of the what, and I get too much of the what that I can already see on the screen, and then I get too much of the, in my opinion, this has been a great match, you know, or this has been a show. It's like, bro, you didn't tell me anything at all. You literally haven't said anything. You've just been flapping your gums at me.
This is probably the first team in South America to threaten Brazil Gaming House. I've never seen Dudu get off of Widowmaker.
So this is a better explanation, in my opinion, as to why this is a show, right? That this is the first time that we've ever seen Brazil Gaming House pushed so far to the limit. And again, like I said before, it's another good way to give people context as to why they should give a shit.
Due to someone else giving him a hard time. Now going on to, he's been playing a lot more Brigida to assist his tanks in the tank battle and making it hard on the tank line of looking for Oregon, opening the opportunities for Lico on the Hanzo, for example. As Brazil Gaming House, the winning condition is set. They have to finish the map.
I hate to kill him.
Looking for Org have a fantastic defense enough to give Brazil Gaming House their first loss in probably the entire year on a map. But the defense is set for...
Okay, you throw here. I think you throw here, and you let Lafon build up to the first fight, and then you take it back.
Godman on this Junkrat with a crossfire from...
Just, again, it's the same thing. If people are, like, doing intros to the match, and, like, this might happen because you are just not... Because you both are talking for so long, when someone gets the mic, they feel like they need to hold on to it. Like, you guys can talk for half as long each.
Low life on the other side. Brazil Gaming House using the Lucia speed boost from Alamong to push the left side through Hotel, getting an assessment of where looking for Org set up.
Godman a little bit less aggressive here on the Junkrat, trying to find that damage from on high, but getting flanked by Hanzo. Hello, Lico. As he continues to spam down, and it's going to be the DMAC on Swaren. Brazil Gaming House building towards that first tick, not quite there yet. But the advantage is slowly going back.
Jeez, you Hanzo, fam. Love it.
Gaming House Lico just leaving the high ground to assist his tanks on the low ground. Mate is fortified here onto the point. Brazil Gaming House being denied this objective time. Lukavi doesn't even know where to look, where to fly to. Looks like looking for Org will hold for now.
Yeah, looking for Org is going to probably end up losing this eventually as Searchy finds the final blow, but Mate the tank on point going down. As Searchy, walks away.
They're probably going to lose this eventually, but they had already lost. They lost it. Like, when you say that, they have no one alive.
Org is going to probably end up losing
if
this
I'm not
eventually
mistaken.
As Searchy finds the final blow, but Mate the tank on
I could be
point
wrong,
going
because
down.
I can't see what's on the left side.
Searchy, walks away from the health.
Is there no further contest? Yeah, the fight was over there.
And they are going to reset here.
Okay, let's go back and let's dissect this fight a bit more. Okay.
Brazil Gaming House building towards that first tick, not quite there yet, but the advantage is slowly going back to them.
I mean, back to what advantage? Who had the advantage? They're building control. I mean, yeah, they have the advantage. It's swinging back to them. Who's winning? Is anyone winning? If no one's winning, then say no one's winning yet.
And almost the tick earned here for Brazil Gaming House Lico.
So you mentioned the tick almost earned, but that was just said beforehand.
Just leaving the high ground to assist his tanks on the low ground. Mate is fortified here onto the point.
This is a losing fight position in my opinion for BGH. They're like getting wrecked, and then Liko hits 2.
And almost the tick earned here for Brazil Gaming House. Liko just leaving the high ground to assist his tanks on the low ground. Mate is fortified here.
I guess they got a closer spawn.
Brazil Gaming House being denied this objective time. Lukavi doesn't even know where to look, where to fly to.
I mean, crucially, that's a Mercy resing a Orisa, was it?
Looks like looking for Org will hold.
Either way, it would have been a big res. They're not holding.
Going to probably end up losing this eventually.
Yeah, see, like as soon as you guys said they're gonna hold, they just get wrecked.
Eventually, as Searchy finds the final blow, but Matei the tank on point going down. As Searchy, what?
Don't react to that. An orb flying past him. Oh, yeah, they walked away from it. Okay, yeah. Try not to stop yourself to react to things like that.
They do pull off a couple of minutes, about a minute from the clock, so it is not a wasted point.
Right.
But it is going to be now a defense look as Brazil.
So how'd they take it? Because I feel like you guys don't mention at all that Hans is just wrecking people. Like they're winning out by quite small margins there. The fact that Lika's able to get the Mercy pick is probably what turns it around.
In this eventually as Searchy finds the final blow, but Matei the tank on point going down as Searchy.
Don't forget your Chrissy prezzies or you look like a buffhead. Someone's been looking up Australian phrases.
Pack, interestingly. Doesn't matter though, gets out alive. And they are going to reset here. They do pull off.
Who's going to reset? Who pulls off?
A couple of minutes, about a minute from the clock, so it is not a wasted
Looking for Org, right?
But it is going to be now a defense look as Brazil Gaming House.
I mean, it's not a wasted point. It can't be a wasted point because they defend for 1 second, and I guess that's 1 second they're taking off the clock.
Send their attack in.
And the Brazil gaming train is coming in with All
right, Hex is doing VOD review on Thursday. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, good on you, Hex. You got me there, fam. I'll be watching.
Amongst Speed Boost, already holding the mid part of the street as Godman coming from behind. Look how Brazil Gaming House have completely retreated from the choke point. Want to have as much area as possible to predict that rip tire because that would have been a big ouchie, and they were able to shoot that one down. Now a Dragon Strike comes in for
again. You could throw here.
Low life. That's gonna seal off the main.
Oh, you had it. You had it. I see what you're trying to say about the Dragon Strike, but you stuttered.
Chokeway, the main archway that Brazil Gaming House.
And bear in mind, yeah.
Want to break through, but look at the ultimate stacked on Brazil Gaming House. Opens it up for the Earth Shatter. Once he got that kill out to Mate, the follow-up is there. Brazil Gaming House win another fight.
Brazil Gaming House, they're going to want to retake that point. But again, if you're looking for...
What? What'd you say?
Kill out to Mate, the follow-up is there. Brazil Gaming House win another fight.
Brazil Gaming House, they're going to want to retake that point. But
they're going to want to recontest and retake the point. Like, they just did that. I mean, that doesn't make sense. You can figure that out for yourself.
Again, if you're looking for Org, you're a little bit uncomfortable. Their defensive alt economy has not been there. Godman with a really early rip.
Why hasn't the defense alt economy here? The alt economy is a secondary. It is a secondary symptom of another problem, right? So if you tell me if you tell someone their defensive alt economy isn't there, there's a reason for that. And you need to tell me like they're getting rolled on defense because it's not like are you telling me that they're using ultimates at the wrong time? Because they're just losing fights. They're just kind of getting like rolled out. So we go a step deeper there and you go like, what do you mean? Like their defensive alt economy, like what do you mean? Why is it?
Even start pushing. It's a really odd choice, and it just.
Oh, hold on, I think you said it here.
Their defensive alt economy has not been there. Godman with a really early rip tire before Brazil Gaming House even start pushing.
Okay.
It's a really odd choice, and it.
I mean, it is to buy time to a degree as well to help people set up. So there are reasons to use defensive, to use early rip tires. I mean, we saw it in another fight where it got like 3 kills, right? Where like. I think one of the BGH guys like turned his shield away. You know what I mean? So we've seen early rip tires before. And they're okay because there is a purpose. It's to let you set up. It's to force people back.
Puts them in a situation where they get no value from it.
And they get no value from the rip tire because the rip tire got blown up. Like if they get a kill with the rip tire, then you have value. In fact, I think you probably need 2 kills to get real value for it, but then it's worth it. No, it doesn't take long to charge at all. You're right. You're playing against a Reinhardt.
Honorado goes up in charge on that Zarya. They're able to build a Graviton. The Earth Shatter's right back in, and now Brazil Gaming House have put themselves in a position to try and capture point 2 right here.
Mainly.
Good throw.
Searchy does have a transcendence for this combination Dragon Strike coming in from Brazil Gaming House. The sound barrier used looks like they want to win this fight without having to use their combination. If they don't need to, the wipe.
Yeah, okay, so you're talking about something that didn't actually happen, I guess.
That Zarya, they're able to build a Graviton. The Earth Shatter's right back in, and Now Brazil Gaming House have put themselves in a position to try and capture point 2 right here.
Mainly, Searchy does have a transcendence for this combination Dragon Strike coming in from Brazil Gaming House.
It's not coming in though, is it? I guess that's the problem. It's a potential factor, but BGH just don't need to use it. And if these guys are good and if they track old economy here, they probably know that the sound barrier is enough to win them the fight outright.
Sound barrier used. Looks like they want to win this fight without having to use their combination. If they don't need to, the wipe is there. They only needed to use a sound barrier, and they make it through to point B. They have 1:10 left to finish the map. That is not a lot of time for BGH.
Not a lot of time at all, but they do have a fight win right here. Calero, no transcendence, and they have the combination, Searchy, no transcendence. Calero also without that.
Okay, stop. It is not me, Matt, that is preventing us from doing this duo VOD review. Don't you dare. Don't you dare pin that on me. It is Matt that doesn't seem to have much interest in doing it. I've mentioned it to him multiple times. Don't you dare, Matt. I see you in my chat.
That support ultimate, but less importance as there is no graviton on look.
It is, if anyone wants to complain about there not being a duo VOD review yet, you take your complaints up with Matt.
For Org side, Riptire gonna be committed here. Brazil Gaming House try and walk in.
Oh, he's not taking the high ground, going through the flank. They're looking for it.
Did he just hit that with a fucking whip flail? That's ridiculous.
House deny these ultimates because they're so good at disengaging. Now they use their Graviton Dragon
Who uses the Graviton Dragon Strike?
Strike combination, clearing the way. A responding Dragon Strike. Interesting choice from Lol.
Hex. Painfully apathetic.
Like, temporarily stops the push, but looks like they've still solidified themselves onto the payload. 25 seconds.
Oh, did you try and link your Twitch Prime, Matt? Feels
left.
bad.
This is BGH's last fight to finish the map, and looking for Org, every pick matters for them.
Looking for Org to try and reset. They lose Godman here. The Transcendence is committed. This is last fight situation regardless. 10 seconds remaining here, Lemon. And this
yes, 10 seconds remaining. He's do or die.
Committed to no one. What?
Okay, but you're doing a play-by-play. That's fine.
Oh,
Mete just absolutely throwing that Earth Shatter out. There's nothing here as this fight commences.
Just absolutely throwing that Earth Shatter out.
Overtime is here. Transcendence from...
Okay, so I don't think you need to mention overtimes here now because it was just mentioned there was a 10-second fight or 10 seconds left in the round.
Calero keeps the front line up. This allows Liko to be so aggressive on this Genji. The swap's coming in.
What is this obsing, dude? Oh, what is this obsing? Good, I could have told Chelsea myself. What is this obsing? Holy crap.
Regardless, 10 seconds remaining here, Lemon. And this is do or die here. Earth Shatter committed to no one. What? Mete just absolutely throwing
This is fine. This angle is fine.
There's nothing here as this fight commences.
Overtime is here. Transcendence from Calero keeps the front line up. This allows Liko to be so aggressive on this Genji. The swap's coming in.
It's just a big fuck fest, and we can't see anything.
Dudu on the Tracer, not having fun against Godman's Brigida. Oh my goodness, looking for Org, are about to hand BGH's only loss this entire season. They deny the fate
Whoa!
of BGH, the second team in history. Looking for Org. Second seed in their group, we're the team to do it.
Okay. Let's listen to the last part of that fight. Because you guys have very little to work with, so fair enough.
Overtime is here. Transcendence from Calero keeps the front line up. This allows Liko to be so aggressive on this Genji. The swap's coming in. Dudu on the Tracer.
I guess you don't know it was a grav, right? There was a grav, yeah.
They're not having fun against Godman's Brigida. Oh my goodness, looking for Org, are about to hit.
So, like, you go up a gear here. I'm not sure why. I guess because they're about to win, right? But like again, there is a switch. There is a change in your energy that is a little bit too fast, and it's not built up much. There's a grav. I mean, you can't see that. That's fine. But then I think when you realize you're about to win, you already act strongly. Where coming into the fight as a caster, you probably should be casting with that possibility very much in mind and sort of building up as much as you can as that fight goes. It is a map win and not a match win, but I believe, yeah, that is true. It's a mild detail. But yeah, so you go from 0 to 10 there pretty quickly. Allows it to be aggressive. The swats are coming in from who? I mean, I assume by this point you know it was a Graviton. I mean, this observing makes it impossible to cast this properly.
Not having fun against Godman's Brigida. Oh my goodness, looking for Org, are about to hand BGH's only...
Right. So unfortunately, I would give that the casting of that fight. So the observing was bad. So that is definitely a mitigating factor. But that was not a well-casted fight. But I admit that if you had more to work with, I'm sure it would have been better. Like, it was just, it wasn't great. I mean, we missed a lot of things, and obviously we jumped up there, pretty quickly towards the end. You're doing the best you can with what you got is what my opinion is. So, yeah, but obviously tough reviewer to really get anything going with that one.
Lost this entire season. They deny the fate of BGH being the second team in history with no map losses. Looking for Org, second seed in their group. We're the team to do it.
Cool.
Sydney Drop Bears, you can keep your pedestal #1 in doing that, not taking a single map loss. BGH, they drop it here, but we go to the halftime 1-1, and it's a case of differences. Liko with that play of the game, and that will...
What's a case of differences? What do you mean it's a case of differences?
Map loss, BGH, they drop it here, but we go to the halftime 1-1, and it's a case of differences. Liko with that play of the game, and that will be looking for Org, putting an exclamation point. We did not kind of expect them to win this series, but having a map win and showing how strong they were in their attack rounds, there's an opportunity here for them now to actually come back into the series and take it all. So, it's not over yet. We're looking for Org, have to be feeling good about them. Going to the half, down 2.
Okay, I'm going to use the bathroom really quickly. I'm just going to drink a lot of water, and I'll come back and I'll give my final thoughts. For the purposes of the YouTube VOD, I'll probably just cut it here. Give me a second. I'll be back. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the chair VOD review. Alright, let's just get sorted here. So, in general, I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. It's kind of nice that we have good English casting for the South American Contenders region. That's definitely not the song. Okay, so for Lafon, I mean, just really need to think about what you're saying. I'm hearing like a ton of just stuff that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? A lot of platitudes. Really try and focus in and don't just fill time with what you're saying. You know what I mean? Don't just try and fill air, because then like you got to understand. I say this a lot. I say this quite often to a lot of people, but you must add value as a caster. It is not enough to be talking over the gameplay. I need you to go deeper and look for things and explain why things happen, not just what happened, but why they happen. We really need to like draw a causal link between, what we actually see happening and what precipitates that event. If we don't have that, then you're not doing your job. Presuming that you're providing most of the analysis here. It is, and I think it could also be a misconception from a lot of casters that do come into the scene as well. It's more complicated than maybe some people think, maybe, and you really need to put your nose to the grindstone. You need to know the game, and you need to see more than the average person at the first glance. And if you can't do that, then you can't provide value as like an analysis caster. You should be a play-by-play caster. Because for us, it's not quite as bad. Or you don't need to go quite as deep. You leave that to your partner. For Kiwi, bunch of things I already I mentioned, I suppose, as well. Make sure you're going from 1 to 10 doesn't happen so rapidly there. Make sure there's a little bit of time for that to breathe. Try and transition over the course of a fight and not just sort of jump. That doesn't really jive too well. The laughing is fine. demonstrating personality is totally fine. You know, you talked about, you know, in the little thing that you wrote that you guys were hoping to, I guess, add some personality because it was quite a serious game. The first step to doing that is to have a conversation with each other. Like, you guys were like, I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk. The only time you guys really responded to one another was like the last point they make, be like, yeah, that's right, and then you jump in. So it feels like, think about the way people stand, right? I feel like you guys are standing facing forward to the audience, not turning to anyone. Think of this like two people standing on a stage, right? But what you really want to try and do is turn to face each other, but also a third person, right? Like a triangle. Instead of just facing out towards an audience and not really having anything going on between the two of you. It is harder when you're not there in person. The more you cast with each other, the more you're going to get out of it. So think about that. That's a great way to get personality in there when you guys can just have a chat and just, okay, a kill happened. You don't have to cast it, you know. Yeah, the laughing's fine as long as the extra stuff you add for personality is fine. But what I always say is that most casters won't ever really be able to come into their own in that regard until they nail their fundamentals. Until they can do everything that the broadcast requires, they can't add, you know, extra flavor stuff in over the top, because then you're compromising on the basics and the really important things you need to nail. Once you improve as a caster, you'll be able to add those layers. So you have your fundamentals, then you have that personality. You know, there are so many casters that by the books do their job well, fundamentally, but they're shit in terms of their entertainment value and their personality. And I just want to fucking turn the TV off. Right? So a balance is very important, but you need to make sure that you walk before you can run in that sense. Yeah, I think that's about it. A bit more back and forth with you guys. Really think about what you're saying. Like, you guys just you cannot throw out a sentence that doesn't mean anything and expect to get away with it, because I'm going to come for you. Because you need to be on yourself. You need to go back and go, well, that sentence didn't really make any sense. Why did I even say that? Like, eliminate platitudes and air filling. All right. And if you don't have enough to say, then, like, if you can't fill the time, then I hate to say it, but you are in the wrong job. This is not for you. Because you should be able to look at the game and have a myriad options to choose from and things to talk about. All ranked in order of, like, important to not important. That's something you want to work on, is a hierarchy of events that are occurring as you see the game that you can, you know, reach from and then provide. That's really important. Oh, yeah. I will find you if you hit me with them platitudes. Don't pontificate, you know. Don't pontificate, but help each other participate in the discussion. I think that's really important. Otherwise it's just going to be boring. I don't want to. Yeah, the point is not to be the show. It's to make the show. You don't be the show. So yeah, sort that out. Anyway, that's the VOD review down. I'm going to put that up on YouTube later on. Big thanks to Lafon and to Kiwi for putting themselves out there as well. Because, you know, it can be a little bit obviously stressful being sort of put up in front of a bunch of people and essentially being reviewed. I know a lot of people would prefer that I did it